It had been years since I last saw Tom. Our friendship had faded like a distant memory, slipping through the cracks of time. Life had carried me far away from him, and I was content to let it. But when the message arrived, "Hey, I need you. Come see me. We need to talk," something stirred inside me, something I couldn't ignore. The message was simple, but its weight hung heavy. There had been no explanation, no reason why he had reached out after all these years. I'd been through enough in my own life to question everything, but for some reason, I couldn't shake the feeling that I needed to go. I found myself on the road, driving the familiar route back to the town we once shared. I had no idea what to expect. The house, his house, stood at the edge of town, just as I remembered. Old, weathered, a large two-story structure shrouded in mystery. It had always looked out of place, a relic from the past that never quite fit in with the rest of the modern buildings in the area. The paint had peeled, the windows were dusty, and the lawn was overgrown. But there was something oddly comforting about it, even now. I pulled into the driveway, and the house seemed to stare at me. The front door creaked open, revealing Tom standing there, looking just as I remembered. Tall, dark-haired, and wearing that crooked smile that had always been his signature. But something about him felt different. His face was more worn, his eyes shadowed with something I couldn't quite place. "Hey, long time no see," he said with a nervous laugh, as though he were trying to make light of the situation. I nodded, still uncertain of what to say. "Yeah, it's been a while. What's going on?" Tom stepped aside to let me in, and as I entered, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. The house felt colder than I remembered, the air thick with an unspoken tension. The hallway stretched out before me, dimly lit, as if the house itself was reluctant to give up its secrets. "I know this place looks, well, not exactly inviting," Tom said, closing the door behind me. "But there's something I need to show you, something you won't believe." I raised an eyebrow. "What is it?" He didn't answer immediately, only motioned for me to follow him. We made our way down the hallway, past the old family portraits that seemed to watch us as we walked. Each one held a strange, unsettling energy, as if the people in them weren't quite alive. The walls were adorned with dusty shelves, some of which held various trinkets and old relics, things I hadn't seen before. We stopped in front of a door at the end of the hall. "This is it," Tom said, his voice barely above a whisper. The door creaked open, revealing a room that I hadn't known existed. It was a study of sorts, cluttered with papers, books, and strange artifacts. But in the center of the room was something that immediately caught my attention. A large, dark trench coat draped over the back of a chair. Tom walked over to the coat, his eyes locked onto it. This is what I wanted to show you." I frowned, unsure of what to make of it. "What is it? Why is it so important?" Tom hesitated, glancing at me as if he were unsure whether to continue. "It's not just any coat," he said. "It's been here for as long as I can remember. My grandfather used to wear it. I've always felt something when I'm around it. Something strange." I stepped closer, inspecting the coat. It was made of heavy black fabric, worn and faded from years of use. The collar was high, almost as if to protect the wearer from the wind. It looked old, like something from another time, perhaps the late 1800s, with intricate stitching and a feeling of age that made me uneasy. "Why would your grandfather leave this behind?" I asked. Tom shook his head. "I don't know. But ever since I moved back here a few months ago, it's been acting strange. At night, I hear it. It moves, rustles on its own." I chuckled, trying to ease the tension in the room. "You're not suggesting it's haunted, are you?" Tom's eyes were wide. "I don't know what to think anymore. But when I got back to this house, I started having these dreams. I keep seeing things, hearing things, and it all seems to trace back to that coat." I felt a shiver run down my spine, but I tried to dismiss it. "Maybe you're just imagining things. Stress can mess with your head, Tom." He stared at me for a moment, his expression unreadable. Then he walked over to the coat, picking it up and holding it out toward me. "Try it on." I froze. "What? Are you serious?" Tom nodded solemnly. "I'm not sure what it means, but something's telling me that if you wear it, things will change. Maybe we'll understand why it's here." I laughed nervously, trying to brush off his words. "I think you've lost it, man." But there was something in his eyes, a desperation, a pleading. I'd never seen him like this before. The Tom I knew had always been confident, always had an answer for everything. Now, he looked lost, afraid. Against my better judgment, I reached out and grabbed the coat. As soon as my fingers brushed the fabric, I felt a strange tingling sensation course through my body. The coat was cold, colder than anything I had ever touched before. It seemed to hum with an energy all its own, something ancient and untouchable. "Put it on," Tom urged. I sighed, feeling an inexplicable urge to do as he asked. Slowly, I slipped the coat over my shoulders. The moment it settled against my skin, something strange happened. The air in the room shifted. The temperature dropped even further, and the shadows seemed to grow longer, more oppressive. I looked at Tom. "What the hell's going on?" His face was pale, his eyes wide with fear. "It's happening again." Suddenly, the coat tightened around me. The collar constricted against my throat, and I couldn't remove it. The room began to spin, and a voice, deep and cold, whispered in my ear. I couldn't make out the words, but I could feel the malice behind them. It wasn't Tom's voice. It wasn't anyone I knew. Panic surged within me. I clawed at the coat, trying to tear it off, but it wouldn't budge. My heart raced and my breathing became shallow. "Tom, get it off me," I screamed, but my voice was drowned out by the growing whispers that seemed to come from all directions. Then, everything went dark. When I opened my eyes again, I was no longer standing in Tom's study. The world around me was black, the air thick and suffocating. I felt as if I were floating in nothingness, weightless and trapped. My heart pounded in my chest, each beat thundering in my ears as I struggled to comprehend what had just happened. The whispers, cold and disembodied, filled the space around me. I couldn't understand the words, but their intent was unmistakable. They were calling to me, taunting me. They felt like hands, pulling at the edges of my mind, pushing me toward something dark, something hidden. I tried to move, but my body felt paralyzed as though the very air around me had turned to molasses. The trench coat, cold and heavy, seemed to weigh me down. It clung to my body like a second skin, its fabric smooth yet somehow oppressive. I tugged at the collar, but it refused to loosen. It was as if the coat had fused with me, binding me in a way that defied all logic. "Tom," I whispered, but my voice came out strangled as if it were someone else's words escaping from my lips. No response. I tried again, louder this time, but all I heard in return was the echo of my own voice, twisted and distorted as if the darkness itself was mocking me.